Hey everybody, Lee Odess here with the Access Control Executive Brief, and what's been, I would call it 7 days worth of build-up, finally here with the team from HiveWatch, where we've got a special announcement of some great progress, and I'll let them get into what it is, but thank you for taking the time to be here. I love doing this, especially being able to do it here in the lab, and come to find out we're all from the area here too, which is nice to see. So if we want, let's just jump right into it. So Ryan, Jordan, thank you guys very much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So what's the news?
Well, happy Movember. Thank you. We did not get acquired since that's been about 1,000 techs so far in the last 7 days.
I think it was the champagne.
I think it was the champagne. Yeah. No, we're really excited about a product that the team's been working really hard to build, and excited to announce the release of the HiveWatch AI Operator. It's been a labor of love, something that over the last few years, as we've not just built the product, but gathered a huge amount of data from our customers and how GSOCs work and function and what works and what doesn't work and how we drive efficiency. AI has been a buzzword undoubtedly in the industry for a long time. And so we'll get into what AI actually means in this context, but really excited about what this AI operator is going to bring to global operation centers.
Yeah, we'll try to not have as much HiveWatch buzz AI dad jokes as we possibly can, but we'll do our best. But so before we jump into exactly what it is, how it works, the value it creates, for those that are new to HiveWatch, let's give a quick, call it elevator pitch of who you are, what you're doing, the problems you're solving, and then we'll jump into what the product is that you're launching here.
Yeah, so HiveWatch, first and foremost, is a software platform for security operation centers. And we say platform because we really exist across the ecosystem of systems and operations, rather than what's existed in the industry for a long time, which are individual point solutions that do a thing. And my thesis, coming from the industry as an end user, and then a security consultant, and then we launched a GSOC as a service 6.5 years ago, was that point solutions are one of the main things that prevent security from being truly scalable. And so as we think about our approach as a platform, there's things that we've built, but there's also a huge ecosystem of integrations. And that ecosystem is going to continue to grow, and some more exciting announcements about that in the coming months.
Yeah, it's definitely, I find it to be one of those products that's really about the today and tomorrow, solving the problems of the past, of like where it's going to go. It's not necessarily incremental changes of an existing platform that was there before. This is now sort of, you can envision it being the sort of where things are going and solving problems today. So let's get into the actual announcement of the product. Give us more details, exactly what it is, the problems that it's solving for, and then we'll talk about how it's solving it.
So for the last few years, the HiveWatch operating system has been in security operations centers, and we started with integrating disparate access control and video systems. And we thought that that's sort of table stakes in security programs. Everybody's got video, everybody's got access control. In very few cases do they actually cohesively work together and drive effective operations. So that's where we started. And then we started doing more incident management workflows. Then we started doing more guard optimization and communications between the SOC and the field, starting to get into case management workflows, integration with emergency services. And so all of that stuff drove very good incremental efficiency in the program, saved companies millions of dollars in spend across their duplicative tech stacks and guard spend and operator spend. But the problem still existed of high false alarm rates. And even when you do effective alarm reduction, the reality is the operator is still spending the vast majority of their time clearing alarms. And as a program that's looking to scale and protect their people and their assets globally, it's really not an effective use of people. And so what we're trying to do is upskill and up-level the workers so that we can take the mundane and monotonous tasks off their plate and start leveraging people for the things that we actually need, which is good context and sort of higher value, proactive security work, more intel and analyst focused work. And in many cases, the 10, 20, 30 operators that you have per shift, maybe you don't need those. If you're already a minimum staff SOC, then you're not looking to cut people, you're looking to improve efficiency. And this AI operator is going to be really key for both of those use cases.
Yeah, I mean, we hear a lot about the trend around AI, but the application of it is not always clear to people. So this is a good example of how you can utilize this technology to apply to what has been a process that's existed, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about people going in and clearing alarms to it. You can see how it's like, oh, why couldn't the system do
Mm-hmm.
that itself and then go, have the people focus on areas that frankly deliver more value, may even be a better way to work and for them as well.
Well, our thesis since the beginning has always been, all right, let's capture all of the data from all these different disparate systems, then be able to add more and more automation from that centralized point of data. And so we've solved that first really difficult problem with the comprehensive library we've built. And just now we're finally breaking through to getting that incredibly flexible, very fast, and very procedural automation.
Yeah, no, the interesting part about these systems, again, we talk about cloud and we talk about the central databases but these are some of the added value that comes with having these systems to where you can do more processing and then automation on the back end of the rest, not just an architecture of reduction of cost, but it's actually an increased amount of value in how the systems operate.
Well, and so let's look back at the history for a second
Yeah.
of analytics and then AI, and both of those have fallen short in many regards, and some of them have added a lot of value. Analytics became sort of a four-letter word in the industry for a long time, and then AI did because a lot of people didn't understand what it was. Manufacturers were overselling what it was, or if it even was AI versus rules. Now we've got some products out there that are very efficient AI, and it's more computer vision based. And you can do cool things with that. But I would argue that, and we use computer vision in our product today, but computer vision is in essence another point solution. And it's a point solution where you have a model that's trained for something specific. And so if you're looking for slip and falls, or you're looking for weapon detection, you're looking for mass egress, like all of those things are great. And you can pretty effectively train a model to do those things. But a computer vision model cannot become an operator. And that's one of the big differences between what we're announcing today with the HiveWatch AI Operator versus a computer vision model. And so we've worked with Anthropic to build this as the foundational LLM that this AI operator is built on. And what that does is enable us to have the ultimate flexibility of how this AI fits into the program, custom tailored to each organization's use cases, specific at the facility levels, the time of day, their standard operating procedures, and the things that are unique and important to that organization without having to specifically train models for those applications.
So talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned a couple of things. I think a thing that jumps out to me is the term operator. So that's interesting. I like both the AI and operator. So you kind of see how it comes together as a thing that is adding value versus, say, just a technology that exists there. Like you're saying, computer vision to me sounds like a technology. The operator part's the actionable end of what you're doing, that's interesting to me. The second part that you brought up was Anthropic specifically. Can you talk a bit about like why Anthropic? What that for those that have heard it, right? There's people that haven't heard about it. There's people that probably have used it. People that have used some of their products. But like, why Anthropic? What value does it bring, and why should I care?
Well, I can tell you that Jordan and the team tested all of the foundational model companies for this particular use case. Anthropic far and away outperformed everybody we were looking at specifically for this security function. And then layered on top of that, Anthropic allows us to host the models within our customers' individual environments. And so when we look at like, great to build a cool technology, if customers can't adopt the technology, then it's also worthless. And so you look at enterprise buying and you look at data privacy regulations and AI governance and all of those things that are either in play or companies are figuring out how to put in play. and you look at specifically requirements around generative AI, organizations' biggest concern is sharing their confidential data back to a third party to train models for everybody else. And in this particular case, there is no sharing of data outside of that customer's environment. The model and all of the data is hosted entirely within each customer's instance of HiveWatch with no outside data provided elsewhere.
Okay, so it passes the privacy concerns and the issues that people might have. And I know I've heard a lot of people talk about the initial side of AI being brought to the marketplace. There was the concern about everyone using everyone's data.
Right.
It'd be used to make new products, etc. But no, it's all housed in one place. You keep all your data together, and the vision with this product is that as you keep using it more, it will tune more to exactly the types of outputs that you would get.
Yeah.
The experience should be like, look, you take the information that you would give your human operator to be able to respond to particular alarms, alerts, the way that you had intended, even down to like this is how what a suspicious alarm would look like, or here are the facets of particular things that if this happens, tell me about it in plain text. And then it'll take those actions for you. And then you can start tuning how those responses go to get it more and more dialed in.
I think one of the, we previewed this to a bunch of our customers, sure, and we wanted to get feedback before we went to market with it. Would you use it? What's going to be the process to get this through your legal, your InfoSec, your privacy? Would you reduce the number of operators in your operations center? Or if you're a small operations center, does this enable you to do more? And one of the pieces of feedback I got that I really loved is that the AI operator is effectively taking the role of a reasonable person. And so it's using the standard operating procedure to assess what's happening, determine the next steps, and take the next steps. And then as part of the incident management workflow, logging all of that logic and the steps that were taken, the same as a reasonable person would do in terms of its evaluation of that scenario.
Yeah, no, it reminds me, like in our business, everyone was worried that it was going to replace people that write and create content. And a lot of times you find out there are certain aspects that it definitely does, like,
sure,
titles of things and whatever, where there used to be specific people that did that type of work. Now it's in addition to, and it also takes care of some of the mundane stuff.
Yeah, but you can just write probably more content now.
I can, and actually I find that my content is better. At least I believe, and from what I hear from people too. But it is. But that might be also the way that the spaces can operate better. I always find it interesting too. Is I feel like historically our industry has had products that the best day that product was the day it was installed, and it degraded over time. I mean, like we've been okay with that. Like that's just how it worked, right? Now it feels like you put these systems in and they get better over time. And I don't know if that's the change of architecture. It's just the way the systems work. And I believe it's the way the systems work. The learning, like you're saying, the tuning and the rest of it, where you're tightening it down. We always expected our people to get better over time, but we've never expected our systems to get better over time. But this sounds like...
Well, I also don't think that the systems we've had have enabled people to get better over time. From a usability perspective, you look at your typical operations center and average 2 weeks to 4 weeks to onboard a new operator across 10 to 20 different point solutions. The industry average between operators and guards is anywhere from 80 to 300% annual turnover. And so you look at the time to, if you can even recruit the right talent and onboard that talent, and then you're probably going to lose them anyways. Where is the time built in there to upskill, up-level, train, not lose institutional knowledge? So, something that Jordan and his team have done from the beginning is a huge focus on the user experience. And for HiveWatch, for a new operator who's never seen the system before, 1 hour is our benchmark, that if we can't train you to be proficient in the software in 1 hour or less, it's a fail. Yeah. Anytime we've released a new module, 30 minutes or less, or it's a fail.
Yeah, I really do believe the consumerization of how we use technology impacts the commercial side now.
It's got to be money. It's got to be an iPhone experience that like somebody with no experience can just sit down and figure it out and not break anything.
So talk to me real quick, because I saw a demo of it. It made perfect sense to me. I would be the non-operator of someone who has not operated GSOC, and I saw it. But Talk to me real quick. You showed a couple use cases
Mm-hmm.
that I thought would be interesting, right? The door opening because of HVAC. So can you just walk through a couple of those so people can see, that this isn't just hand waving and magic. It's actual the practical execution of it in real life.
Yeah. So, I mean, the idea is that customers have their standard operating procedures and how they operate today. And how they would deal with it today is an alarm would come in and an operator would pull it up. If their systems aren't integrated, they're getting the access control event, they're getting the video event, then they're referencing their standard operating procedures, determining what the next course of action is, and then they take it. And that means dealing with an alarm can take 1 minute to 15 minutes. In a HiveWatch world now with the AI operator, we're taking that SOP and building that into the system so that for certain event types, we're not going to do everything out of the box on day one. You're able to have the AI assess the scene based on what the SOPs are, training, for example, what suspicious means. There's not a suspicion model, and that would have all kinds of problems with bias and things like that. But like each organization gets to define what suspicious is for a particular scenario that's time bound. So maybe suspicious during business hours is different than suspicious after hours, and suspicious on an interior door may be different than suspicious on an exterior door or a server room or a lab or anything like that. And so the AI is able to evaluate whether the criteria is met or not. And then based on that evaluation, take the next actions, which could be dispatching a guard. It could be escalating to a human operator. It could be resolving the incident because in the case of the HVAC issue, while the video saw that the door moved in the frame, there wasn't a person present. Nobody crossed the door frame. If you're in a regulated industry, we've got pharma customers where leaving the building in a lab coat is a violation of clean room rules and FDA regulations. So looking at an exit event from the door and saying, okay, was anybody leave in a white lab coat, generate an incident, and take the following actions.
I think there's a second part too in there that's there's a big issue in the industry when you're getting these huge volumes of alarms. You end up building up leather skin. And so we've seen with some of our customers before buying HiveWatch, they would sometimes a compelling event that drew them was missing real alarms. They're just consistently used to going through. Oh yeah, it hasn't been real 99% of the time. So this time it's definitely not real. I'm not going to investigate it. Oh, I see a guy there. Yeah, maybe 12 a.m. and no one's ever there at 12 a.m. But whatever, he doesn't look suspicious in this 1 second that I'm looking at it. So pushing it on to the next one. The beauty of what we're building with the AI operator is that every time it is looking at one of these alarms, it is like it's the first alarm it's looked at the day. Yeah. You are getting peak height, focus, and attention for all of the alarms that are coming through your system in a standardized process.
And by the way, at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. It baselines what the expectation should be of how the standard operating procedures work, which will be interesting to see as we move forward how standard operating procedures change based off of now, because it's like the floor is going to move up to what you would expect that to be.
That's a lot of the UX work that we're working on with our early customers is what is the best way that we can start intaking these. We're taking what customers have today, their PDF forms, simple write-ups, text files, but are working towards figuring out what are truly the best pieces to optimize this new way to be able to respond to alarms.
Yeah. And then it'd be interesting to me too, is the definition of operators changing in a lot of ways. So like we're now putting AI in front of it because it's new on that end. At some point, this stuff becomes sort of the normal standard operating procedures and of how the expectation that you would have of a system of how it would function and work on that end. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Talk to me, if you would, real quick, just what's like the ideal customer that this is being applied to? You talked about pharma, you've mentioned enterprise. What is that customer? So if I'm watching this,
yeah,
is this for me? Like,
yes, no. So all of our early customers, early adopters are Fortune 500 and healthcare. And we found that while it's certainly applicable at the lower ends of the market where they may have actually a lot smaller SOC operations and less people, and the benefit of AI the value prop is different. Those are all of our early customers, but really everybody with a SOC is within the ideal profile of who a user of this would be.
Okay.
I think even people without a SOC, like you could have the folks that don't even have a program at all and are trying to explore like and having to deal with those types of alarms,
Sure.
rather than hiring individual SOC operators, maybe trying something for a first layer to triage those before you're actually getting woken up in the middle of the night for the 3 facilities you're responsible for.
That's interesting because I talk about specifically in access control that historically $10 billion industry, high security, pretty understood customer profile of what that would be. And then now with the way that we're moving into more mainstream, it's expanding actually to 60 to 100 billion, depending on who you are and what math you like. But this too sounds like it solves for the traditional GSOC customer, but then also now that total addressable market probably increases because where before there's probably, again, a high level of implementation into where you needed to have certain complexity and in order for it to make sense now.
So we don't focus just on access control. So we would say that like the industry TAM's 330 billion and might be bigger. Yeah. But if you say it's 330, about 160 of that is spent on human capital and guards. Yeah. And so from an opportunity standpoint, like that's a very obvious one to me in terms of the ability to use human capital where you actually need it and where it can be most effective, and provide automation at a fraction of the cost in the areas where the technology is really at a point now where it's viable to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the stat alone that I saw that you guys showed me that 95% of alarms are false. That was the number?
Across most of our customers, when we start with them, it's actually over 98. Yeah. But 95, I believe, is more typical industry average.
Which is crazy. The levels of inefficiencies and appetite to just accept them because that's just how it was is crazy.
And at the top end of the market, by the way, it can be millions a year per organization. And so you look at, like, you start breaking it down and you look at the business of security, like there is a cost per alarm. And those figures are astronomical.
Wow. All right. So let's say I'm interested. You got me. I like it. I like what I'm hearing. I'm either a customer for GSOC and now I want more advanced, the AI operator, or I'm new to this. Where's the best place to go to find out more information, see the product, get a hold of you guys?
Yeah. So check out hivewatch.com/AI, schedule a demo, get on the wait list. And we're excited to release this in the wild in January of 25.
Yeah. No pressure. No pressure on that.
Lots of pressure.
Yeah. Lots of pressure.
Yeah. So we're making it great. We're good.
Yeah. You're good. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for taking the time to come out here, have the opportunity to sit down, have this discussion, work with me to bring this message out to the marketplace. And thank you all very much for taking the time to be here to learn more about it. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do with the AI operator and just HiveWatch in general.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.